Hey there, happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to Hollywood Critics Association's YouTube channel. And you are watching Pop Council, the show where we talk about all the things, all the fandoms that you know and love. I'm one of your hosts, Wendy Lee Zaney, and joining me, as always, is Jami Philbrick. Hey, Jami.
Hey, Wendy, how are ya?
I had a pretty long weekend. I spent a little bit of time over at my in-laws, and they have a pool. I don't have a pool because I live in an apartment. So whenever there's nice weather and pool, it's great. But then we also had for Father's Day, like we ordered Italian food. So you combine sun, water, Italian food. I was just out the rest of the night. And I feel like I'm still not like fully awake, but my stomach is very happy.
Well,
How about
that's
you?
good. That's good. Yeah, no, had a great Father's Day weekend. Went to the beach with Murphy, which was super fun,
Aw.
and had a nice lunch. And so, yeah, no, good weekend, and ready to talk about some nerdy stuff.
Yes, we got so much topic coming up. We're talking about a little bit of Wonder Man. We're talking live action Hercules. Joker 2 could be a musical. There is going to be another Game of Thrones show featuring Jon Snow. That's going to be the sequel. And our thoughts on the Disney Plus shows like Miss Marvel, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course, Lightyear, which is a Pixar movie, not on Disney Plus. But before we do all of that, Jami, we have to have a third member to complete the Pop Council. So you guys give a warm welcome back to Mama's Geeky, Tessa.
Hey guys, thanks for having me again.
Welcome back. How are things with you?
Good. Hey, I'm moving out to California soon by the end of the summer, which I'm so excited about, but because of that, I'm exhausted. It's moving, it's not fun, it's the worst thing. But I'm excited to be out there. And then I can see you guys in person more. It'll be lovely.
Maybe finally one of these days, like that later in August, we can actually ask for like an in-person Pop Council show. At least one. That'd be a lot of fun. Just one. That'd be a lot of fun. Well, you guys, let's go ahead and jump into it because we do have a lot of topics. I don't have a graphic for this, but let's talk quickly about a new Disney Plus show. This is very early in development, and this is going to feature Wonder Man. So again, very, very early on at Disney Plus, and reportedly, it is going to be a Hollywood satire. And again, like I feel like a lot of these Disney Plus shows, they do a really good job of setting the tone to be different from another. So you can't just look at Disney shows and say Disney Plus shows and say, oh, there's a formula. They're all the same. They all follow this, because they literally don't. But I was not, as I was reading this report, the words Hollywood satire was not something I was expecting. This sounds like fun. Do either one of you know anything about Wonder Man? Because this is brand new to me.
Yeah, me too. You do? Oh, good, Jami. Let's listen.
Do. So, in fact, we have a photo here. There's Wonder Man. So Wonder Man actually was a really prominent Marvel character in the 80s when I was growing up and reading Marvel comics. He was a member of the Avengers, of the West Coast Avengers. And that Hollywood spoof thing that you're hearing in that report makes a lot of sense, because I can't remember if the original character was an actor or a stuntman, but he's somehow in movies. And in fact, I believe or in the Hollywood business, and there was an Easter egg, I believe, in the first Guardians of the Galaxy
with Nathan Fillion, right?
With Nathan Fillion is on a poster as the character, because he's in the movie later, but in CGI, I think he did a voiceover for one of the creatures in the prison. So his image is used on the poster at the movie theater. I think that might be in the beginning on Earth in the flashback. Mm-hmm. And so, but it was starring, I can't remember, is Scott Williamson, or I'm getting their name wrong, Skip Williams, or whatever the character's real name is. Simon something. It's Simon.
It's Simon.
Right, it's Simon. Yeah. So he was the star of that fictional movie. So, Wonder Man's kind of been spread out. I think there's been a few Easter eggs. I've been wondering for a while when they would do something with this character, because at this point they've pretty much done something with every Marvel comic book character there is. And like I said, like in the 80s, he was one of the big Avengers members. It's always funny to me. I was thinking about this the other day. I would actually kind of compare him almost to Booster Gold from DC. In that sense, he was sort of like the comical, heroic character that kind of came in the 80s in a new age. And then what I would also sort of say is, like, if they had made a Justice League movie in 1986, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle would have been the stars of that Justice League movie, because that's who was the contemporary Justice League at the time. And I think the same thing could be said if the Avengers had a movie in 86. It probably wouldn't have starred a Captain America or an Iron Man. It would have starred Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Vision, Beast, and Wonder Man, because they were the Avengers. And actually, this is a cool Easter egg to find. If you Google, there was a crossover comic book Marvel did in the 80s with the Late Night with David Letterman. And you can actually see a comic book cover with David Letterman, and he's interviewing the Avengers. And it's, I think Wonder Man is there. I remember like Hawkeye, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, I think. Maybe.
Oh my God, stop. I see it right now.
You see it? Yeah. Let's put it up.
I'm gonna try to bring the
Yeah. So he was a very big Marvel character at one point. Like, he was a big player. And then I think just, kind of bringing back a lot of the old characters in Marvel comics that either died and came back, and all that kind of stuff, I think kind of got pushed to the wayside. But it's a interesting development, and interesting to see what they do with it. It makes sense to be a Disney Plus character, though. I'll say that.
This graphic might block Tessa for like a second because it's not formatted right, but for a quick second we're gonna put it up.
Yeah, there it is. That's right.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's Wonder Man, Beast, Black Panther, Hawkeye, and Black Widow.
Wow,
that's great.
That's hilarious. If they do this,
Avengers at that time.
If they do this, can they do a quick, like, realistic, like, shot of this? Like, they could make this happen. That's hilarious.
Dave wouldn't. Dave would still have the beard. He wouldn't quite match his.
That's true.
I find it hard to believe Dave would shave the beard. Dave wouldn't even put a wig on for when he had to play himself younger in the Andy Kaufman bit in Man on the Moon. So if you watch that, there's a clip of when Andy got hit on David Letterman, and Letterman reshot it with Jim Carrey, but his only thing was, I'm not putting on old, don't make me look young. It's just gonna be. So it's actually like, it's weird in Man on the Moon because it's the David Letterman of 1999 and the Andy Kaufman of 1984.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. You know what? The fact that I know nothing about this makes me even more excited. And what I do love is that Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton is developing this for Disney Plus, and I love what he did with Shang-Chi. So I'm very excited about this. And again, this is super early in development. We won't start even seeing production until probably 2023. Tessa, your thoughts on this being another addition into like the Marvel's Disney Plus collection?
Yeah, I just love what they do with everything. Like you were saying, everything is so different. Every show is different. It doesn't follow the same formula, which is what makes it so fun. And like, listen, I had totally forgotten about that Easter egg with Nathan until you mentioned it, Jami. I can't even, if they were able to somehow bring him in, I don't know that they would, but can you imagine? I would love that. He's so great. That would be such a great show.
And that's been rumored for a long time that he would. And I'm trying to think, he could still do it because because he's only kind of that voiceover of that CGI character. So he hasn't really done any Marvel stuff. Obviously, he appeared in DC as the detachable kid in Suicide Squad. But I think he's still freed up for facial recognition in the Marvel universe.
That would be awesome. Let's do it. Let's bring him in.
Let's finally make it happen. Let's go. I've been campaigning this for years. Make him a superhero. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into another bit of live action news. This one is going to be on one of the classic Disney animated films, Hercules, but this time we're going to make that live action. We're going to add a little Guy Ritchie and a little AGBO from the Russo brothers. I feel like in the past, there has been talk of a Hercules live action, which doesn't really surprise anybody at this point because Disney has been redoing a lot of, their classic animated films into live action, The Lion King, Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, and the list goes on and on with many more in development, like The Little Mermaid and Pinocchio and whatnot. So Hercules, I feel like a while back, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but I feel like it's been reported that they're going to do this one. And I had thought I remembered maybe they had played with the idea that there wouldn't be songs in it. There's nothing about that in this report that's coming out now. They haven't mentioned it. It's not confirmed. So I think that was maybe just somebody throwing something around as a theory. But Guy Ritchie did direct Aladdin, which I think grossed over $1 billion, which is really, really fantastic for the director and for Disney. How do we feel about Hercules being turned into a live action, Tessa?
I love Hercules, so I'm excited. And honestly, out of the live action, like remakes or whatever you want to call them, Aladdin is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, because I like how it was not shot for shot remake. It was different. They introduced different characters. So I'm actually very excited about this. I'm very excited at Guy being a part of it. And I love Hercules. Like, Hercules is so fun. I'd be really sad if they didn't have any music in there. So hopefully that was kind of just like a thrown around
somebody's theory.
Yeah, that's not true. But I'm excited for it. I think it could be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And Jami, which direction do you think, well, for one, actually, let me ask you this. Guy Ritchie is known for a lot of action films. King Arthur, I can't even name half of them right now.
I just saw a Statham movie he did called Wrath of Man.
Yes. Which was pretty good. So, he did Aladdin, which has like less action, than that's what I thought was weird with Guy Ritchie directing Aladdin. I was like, okay. Right. How do you feel about Guy Ritchie taking on live action Hercules?
Well, I love Guy Ritchie. I like almost all of his films. So I think this is a good idea, a good director. I do want to say that, like, look, if this isn't a musical, if this isn't an adaptation of the animated musical, then I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's got to be musical, because otherwise it's just Hercules, right? Like,
yes,
it's a remake of the Dwayne Johnson Hercules from 2016. What I mean? Like the only thing that makes it different is the music and the Disney aspect of it. So I think if it's not that, then it just becomes another Hercules movie, and I don't know if that's anything anyone wants. And then the other thing I'll say is, like, because you said, classic Disney animation and redoing classic animation. This may show my age, but I don't consider Hercules part of.
Yeah, I guess Disney, it's not part of the Disney Renaissance. Like, I think it's more like Little Mermaid. Yeah, right.
Nor the Renaissance. Right? I see the Renaissance kind of being Little Mermaid through Lion King.
Yeah.
And then after that, we sort of fell off with Hercules and Tarzan and The Emperor's New Groove, and you know what I mean? We started to slip a little bit. It wasn't until Toy Story and Pixar brought Disney animation back up, in my opinion. So Hercules sort of falls in that weird category for me of, like, like, not the best of the Disney animation Renaissance, and certainly not, classic, not pre-1960. So, and then again, it seems, I hate to say it seems a little desperate. I mean, it's like, there's also, are we going to see Tarzan next? And so, like, do we do
possibly
another Tarzan movie?
Yeah.
And, I mean, are we going to see a live action, the Emperor's New Groove? I mean, I don't know. And I know that there's a younger generation that grew up on the post-Renaissance movies and maybe love them, right? So obviously, for that group, maybe this is a good idea, but I just, I don't even think the original Hercules did well in the box office. I know Tarzan was a disappointment.
Yeah, Tarzan was, but
Tarzan was a financial disappointment. I'm not sure how Hercules did. It may have been somewhat mixed, and done okay. So, I don't mind, Disney doing live action versions of their best animated movies, but when we start to get to the subpar animated movies, are we going to do a live action Rescuers Down Under, a live action Aristocrats? I mean,
listen, hey, don't knock Aristocrats. That's a good one.
It's a little not fair to say Aristocrats is subpar, but certainly, some of these others were.
It's interesting with Hercules. I really hadn't thought of it like, if they don't do music, then it would just be a Hercules story that has been done before, the TV show, and then there is The Rock, the movie. So I really would like to see them keep the musical elements in it. And I don't see why they wouldn't. Like for Aladdin, they had a lot of musical elements in it. And that's by Guy Ritchie as well. So I imagine he would take what he did in Aladdin and combine it with some of his, the way he shoots action into this film. I'm excited that he's teaming with HBO on this, who produced films like Extraction, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and etc. So that's really exciting. I wanted to ask you guys for your fan casting. I probably should have put this in our show notes.
Oh, jeez.
And we'll just do... I was gonna say like the Muses, but then that would take up the whole show because there's 5 of them, and all I gotta say is the Muses. If they're gonna do music, then I need the Muses in it.
Well, yes,
I need them in it. I love them so much. I actually just bought a shirt not that long ago from the internet that has the Muses on it, so I can't wait to get that. But who is your? We'll start with Jami. Who would your fan casting be for Hercules, Megara, and Hades?
Well, for Hercules, I would go to the original young Hercules, Ryan Gosling. Remember, he was young Hercules in the live action.
He was. Oh my gosh.
Well, now I'm never going to top that, Jami.
And specifically, for this Tate Donovan animated singing version of Hercules, specifically, I think Ryan would be great. And I don't really know the characters well enough but Hades, I can take a guess on that. Let's see. It was James Woods in the original.
I like the Descendants version.
Who was that?
I can't think of his name. It's going to bother me. I'm thinking he was good, though.
The name that's coming to my head, but he's retired, is Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
Cheyenne Jackson. Retirement.
Descendants.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's good.
Yeah.
He's very talented.
Yeah. He was good. I can't.
Maybe like someone like Clive Owen.
Ooh.
Maybe a Clive Owen as Hades.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah.
Clive Owen would be it. I can't unsee the Descendants one. The girls watch Descendants.
Because, your daughters watch it.
Right.
Do you have anybody for Megara?
I'm trying to think of who. I mean, I would kind of dig like a maybe like a Kristen Stewart, but like before, like her. I don't know about like now, but she'd be pretty fun. I don't know. That's a hard one.
A lot of because I had talked about this on some of the other shows, and the commenters like voted for Zendaya, and now I can't unsee Zendaya as Megara.
Yeah, no, she would be
she
really
can
good.
sing. She can kind of play that spicy dialogue up really, really well. And now I also can't see Ryan Gosling.
I know he would be.
We just talked about him as Ken last week with his perfect chiseled abs. Jeez, there you go. He's a demigod.
He can do both. Why not?
Why not? He's a musketeer, so he can sing.
Yeah.
This might be too on the money, but Hemsworth.
I mean,
I don't know if he can.
It's very hard for me to say no for Hemsworth being in any role. I feel
right. That's true. Just sure. Okay.
Okay, I'll watch it. I was actually thinking prior to Ryan Gosling, because now that's all I can think about. It's living in my head rent free. But before that, I was thinking Dacre Montgomery. I don't know if he can sing though. He's Billy from Stranger Things or the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Because he's got kind of that with the hair and the look of the animation.
Yeah.
I think that fits too. I guess we will find out, as they move forward with this development. But overall, I think if they do a really good job with it, they got a director who's already knocked it out of the park with one of their, Disney animated live action remakes. I think he can knock it out of the park again with Hercules. And with that, let's go ahead and move on to the next. Oh, I had pictures and I didn't even put them up. It doesn't matter. There you go. Here's some Hercules right there. But let's go ahead and move on to another piece of news that we didn't get to talk about.
We want to see replace Will Smith in the Aladdin 2. Who will be the new genie?
Are they not using him?
They can't. They can't.
That's true.
So if they move forward,
I do want to know. Tell me your thoughts.
I don't know. I mean, I think they'd have to recast.
They'd have to recast.
I have a person in mind, and I had this person in mind since they announced, since I saw Aladdin. And I really enjoyed Will Smith's performance in it. because he's Will Smith. But I was hoping for a Keegan-Michael Key. You gotta watch
Oh,
he's so good.
That would be really good. He would be great, Wendy. He would be good.
See, I'm sort of thinking like keeping in the Robin Williams vein. I was gonna go with Ricky Gervais.
Ooh,
Ricky would be good. Yeah, I could see that.
Because I think
he can write his own script.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think he put like the Ricky attitude on the genie, and I think that would be really funny.
That'd be interesting.
See that attitude on Genie. You know what I mean? Of being sort of, you know, snide and maybe not as helpful.
Not as helpful.
It's giving terrible advice to Aladdin.
Right.
Al, here's what you got to do.
Right.
Don't tell her the truth about anything. Keep up the lie.
I guess right.
Just keep
I guess he's retiring, but Jim Carrey, you know, we always said Jim Carrey.
I know.
He always said though the script got him.
As Robin Williams.
Come back for a good script. So the script,
that would be.
He reads it. Yeah,
I
wouldn't mind seeing that either. Ooh, whoo. Well, there you go. There's a couple of choices for possible fan casting for Aladdin 2. And now we could let's talk a little bit about Joker 2. The sequel. So Jami and I talked about, we talked about the title and what that could mean, who could potentially be involved. We kind of settled that it's most likely, very likely to be not focusing on, but with the addition of Harley Quinn. So now I think it was literally after the show broke or something.
Right.
The news broke after the show that Lady Gaga is in early talks to be a part of the sequel. Not only that, according to the articles, it looks like it's also going to be a musical. So, Jami, you and I talked about this last week. What are your thoughts now with the possible addition of Lady Gaga in the movie? In the musical?
Well, when they originally came out and sort of, I think it was a very vague kind of synopsis, and people started immediately saying, "Oh, it's going to introduce Harley Quinn. It's going to introduce Harley Quinn," and I was very quick to say, "Whoa." There's no reason to believe that yet, and I actually didn't think that they would, but obviously this confirms that whether Gaga ends up doing it or not, like Harley Quinn, this is going to be the introduction to Harley Quinn, this movie in this Joker universe. So okay, let me get my head around that. We're confirming that Harley Quinn is going to be in this movie, and if she is, I think Lady Gaga is a great choice, obviously, for this version, and especially if it's a musical. And I could see how, you can make an argument the last half of the movie, the first movie was sort of a musical. I mean, certainly there's a dance number in the middle of the film. So, there is. So, that counts. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that if that is the direction they're going in, that they're really, double downing on it, on the musical aspect and doing something completely different with the sequel, as opposed to most sequels, which are just sort of continuations of the original story. It would be fun to see if this is, and I hope that they keep sort of the continuation of Arthur Fleck's journey, whether he ultimately is the Joker or not the Joker. And while and let's also keep in mind, this is a completely different world. They're just using the Batman world as an outline. It doesn't mean that anything has to stick. So we could find out that this so-called Harley Quinn character that Gaga is going to play is really the real Joker, and that she's in this world, right? And that Arthur maybe doesn't make it out of the second movie, and then she's the real Joker. I mean, I don't know.
Would be interesting.
I guess what I'm just saying, there's so many different open roads they can take, because they're not buried because they've initially set this up as its own universe, its own thing, its own, that is using the comics as a blueprint, but not necessarily the Bible. You really have the freedom to do anything. So I think it is exciting, and I would imagine Joaquin's not coming back if he's not somewhat interested in what they're going to do, and the same with Todd. I think it didn't seem like he was super interested in doing it if it was just going to be a money grab sequel.
Right.
So hopefully this has some really interesting stuff in it, but I love Lady Gaga as an actress. I love Star is Born, so it would be great, which Todd Phillips produced. So
oh well,
true.
Okay, There's the connection. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's, the Hangover. He's Bradley Cooper's boy. So they co-produced.
That's right.
Yeah, Star is Born together.
Yeah, and she really
and I
is.
believe Bradley Cooper was a producer on Joker as well. I think they did.
Oh,
yep.
Wow! Everything's connected.
I believe that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's connected. Tessa, how did you feel when you first heard about Lady Gaga being in early talks?
I had like mixed feelings, just because I am so sick of. I love DC, but like, why are they having to do a million versions of every character? It gets a little frustrating. Although I did love Joker, absolutely loved Joker. But then when I started to really think about it, because for me in my head, I'm like, oh, Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. Like, she was so good, and I love her as Harley, and I love me some Harley. So I was a little like, oh. But then I do love Gaga. As much as I did not like House of Gucci, I thought she was by far the best part of it. So I kind of settled into that. And then when the musical, like, because it was like real quick, I think it was like Gaga, and then it was like 10 minutes later I heard like, oh, and it's a musical.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, this makes a ton of sense now. Now I'm excited that they went this route instead of like someone else who's maybe not the best singer, and they're just kind of going to put him in this role. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was very happy about that. I'm intrigued. Cautiously optimistic, maybe is the right word, because they're just having so many different versions of characters. Like, I don't know why DC does it. They're like, we have 5 universes. Just there you go. It bothers me, but I did love the first Joker. So as long as they can do something, like Jami said, keep it fresh, do something a little bit new. I'm very intrigued, and I do love Gaga.
Yeah.
I'll second what Tessa said. I don't understand why DC does 5 versions of every live action character. I didn't know, but I mean, I'm basing my comments on that the Joker is here. They are going to make this. So, but the larger point, yes, I agree. Like, there was no reason to do a solo Joker movie or a solo Batman. Let's get them all.
Whatever.
Let's get them all connected. But it is what it is.
Somehow they will connect in one way or another.
There'll be a multiverse somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I do recall seeing a lot of people just angrily tweeting about when Gaga, and by all means, she's not even confirmed that she's got the role. Right. It literally says she's in early talks. She could decide, I'm too busy for this.
Yeah.
Or they could go another direction with their movie, which is, nothing's really confirmed until it is confirmed, and even then things can change. But don't sleep on her because you think she did 2 movies. And like that's it. She was phenomenal in both of those films. And if you haven't watched American Horror Story Hotel, she is throughout that. And I was like, okay, yeah, she's super talented. She's a great singer, great actor. And I feel like if they indeed do the Harley Quinn or Harley Quinzel, she is gonna crush it. And this also, I just want to add, like, I feel like people get upset because they're like, Margot Robbie should be Harley Quinn. It's like, well, she is Harley Quinn.
Right.
But she doesn't exist in this universe. It's been established that her Joker is the Jared Leto Joker. You can't take that away. It's been in multiple films. She's talked about it in Birds of Prey and in, not in Justice League, but Batman v Superman. Was it?
Suicide Squad.
Thank you. Yeah, I was like, wait.
We all tried to forget that one, Wendy. Don't worry.
But she's established. It doesn't take anything away from Margot. It doesn't take anything away from Harley Quinn. So,
I think that, Wendy, that's actually goes to the larger problem, right? Is the fact that people don't understand. These are the fans of these movies, and they don't understand that they're Harley Quinns. You know what I mean? So, like, obviously, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's condense. Let's compile all these universes together.
I think we're gonna have a new Flash before we have the first Flash movie. So
I don't even
how that's good, and that's the movie that's supposed to explain the multiverse. So
they're gonna have to redo the whole thing. I mean, you think they're gonna cut their losses and just
not release
put it out, or you think they're just gonna? I don't know what they're gonna.
If so we're going many people work on that movie. Quick, my personal opinion is they need to do a Kevin Spacey, and they're gonna need to reshoot the whole. Or I think they need to Now they don't need to reshoot everything because they would just need to reshoot, Masters and his close-ups, right? So they could do like Back to the Future, where you still see Eric Stoltz hit Biff.
Oh, that's right.
His hand hitting Biff, but then it's Michael J. Fox's face. So it's not like they have to reshoot the entire movie, but one would assume that Ezra was probably in most of the scenes. And I think we know he was playing 2 versions of Barry Allen. So that's 2 roles he would need to recast. So I don't know.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but I
that's
think,
why I don't.
I think recasting and reshooting is probably their best bet at this point.
At this point, it's just getting worse. The situation is
going to get worse.
I would just hate for the movie to never see the day of the light of day because so many people worked on that film.
I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah,
I don't think that'll happen.
It'll come out. It's just
because that needs to come out in order for Michael Keaton to make sense in Batgirl. Like there's a lot of things moving forward that were supposed to be set up in that movie. I mean, you can't reintroduce Supergirl anywhere, right? Unless you see her first in that movie. So they're not canning it, but they may need to reshoot.
They may need to. Yeah. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of money down the drain. That's what it is.
Wow. Well, we'll keep an eye on that topic as well. I've been watching it and just so far no new development other than the latest statement about them not working with them in future projects. So all right, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic that's away from Marvel or Disney or DC, but we're going to dive into that Game of Thrones world, go back to Westeros, and it looks like there's going to be another Game of Thrones show on the way, and this one is going to be focused all on Jon Snow, and it looks like it's going to be a sequel. So if it does move forward, we will get to see Kit Harington once again reprise his role as Jon Snow. What were you guys' thoughts on, because I think we all kind of feel a certain way about how season 8 of Game of Thrones went. What are your thoughts on them kind of, I don't know. Is it them? I've heard a couple of theories, like they want to do this because it'll kind of appease the fans by giving them maybe a better story, better ending, or a continuation of that story through the sequel. Because I think there's majority of the people didn't like how it ended.
Yeah,
no, I didn't love it.
Well, the problem is, George R. R. Martin never finished the book, so they had to come up with their own stuff, and maybe it didn't work out.
Didn't stick the landing.
No, I don't know if we'll ever get those books.
No,
I've given up holding out hope for them. It's never gonna happen. I'm interested in this. I mean, I love Jon Snow. It's almost again like do you cut your losses and leave it as it is? Or do you try to fix it and then hopefully not make it worse? Mm-hmm. I don't know that they can make it worse, but you know what I mean. Like, sometimes it's best to leave well enough alone and then let people have in their heads what they would have rather done or how they would rather continue the story.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to please everybody in any fandom. You're not going to please everybody. And the fans are already very upset. But personally, I love Jon Snow. So, and I love Kit as Jon Snow. So I'm here for it. I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm interested in it. It just has to be the right story. I feel like he wouldn't sign on if it wasn't the right story and done right. I would hope, fingers crossed. So I'm interested.
Yeah. Jimmy, your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go from sort of a different point of view. And not whether, it's right for the character or right for the, the story or the fans, but for HBO, this is totally right. They want to continue the game. This is their big brand. They want to continue Game of Thrones, which is why we have the prequel coming out. And that has been getting crazy fan. I mean, there's a lot of people really interested in that. The trailer did really well. So you've got a prequel going, if you're going to do a sequel, there weren't a whole lot of characters left at the end of season 8 to follow. And so if you're choosing a character that's a fan favorite, that's got a big name star that can, that them coming back is going to be a big deal. I mean, really, Kit's the only one, Jon Snow is really the best option for that. So I think it makes a lot of sense for HBO and Warner Brothers. I think it makes a lot of sense to do it. They're probably offering Kit a lot of money, and it probably makes a lot of sense for him to say yes as well. Whether it will make fans happy and be creatively a great addition to the Game of Thrones world. That's yet to be seen, but I think as a business move, it's very, very wise on all fronts.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I think the prequels are going to be, a lot of fans are waiting for the prequels, and I think the trailer for House of Dragons looks really, really good. I can't wait to see Matt Smith in that series. But for all of us, we invested, 8 seasons glued to the TV, Game of Thrones every Sunday night. It's literally the whole reason why I even was subscribed to HBO to begin with, and have stayed subscribed, because now they keep coming out with these like Game of Thrones things, and I'm like, yep, just keep me in it. Let's go. I think potentially through this sequel, if we can continue to see where and this is to take nothing away from Jon Snow, because he would be obviously the main character in this, but surrounding him would be the other Stark children, Arya and Sansa, and kind of see how they are. So if there's a follow-up, I would like to get a glimpse of what is going on there as well. And I think Kit Harington really loves that character. If you guys probably already saw the table read of the final script, and just his expression when he found out exactly what happens between him and Daenerys is his face said it all. So I would like to see him come back and put on the fur, the cape again, and say his I know nothing lines and whatever it may be. I'm excited for the potential of it, but I want it to be good, because I don't want to sit through another season 8. I don't want to sit through another season 8.
I don't think anyone does.
I don't think anyone does. I've rewatched Game of Thrones, and I've stopped at right before it gets to where I feel like
you're like, I'm good here.
I was like, this is great. I'll just finish it here. So, all right. Well, if you guys, for the viewers, any thoughts on any of our previous topics so far, feel free to comment your thoughts in the comment section below as we move on to the more review portion of our show. We got a lot to discuss. We'll start with some Disney Plus shows, and we'll end with Lightyear. So we're kind of we're upon the finale for Obi-Wan. New episode, last episode, this early Wednesday morning, as well as Ms. Marvel, her 3rd episode. But let's talk Obi-Wan first, because episode 5 was so good. It's literally my favorite episode this entire series. I didn't think that we were going to all of a sudden get a flashback at Coruscant. Right. So that was a pleasant surprise, and the dialogue, and it just ticked off so many boxes for me to see Hayden as, Padawan Anakin, and also to get that backstory from Reva, because we all kind of speculated, right, that potentially she was going to be one of the younglings at the very beginning of Order 66 that we saw, but we weren't sure. And it was revealed that there was that was a very unexpected twist. So Tessa, as you're sitting there and watching this, and the credits kind of start, and then they open to no other location than Coruscant, what were your thoughts?
Oh my
your reaction?
Well, just the whole thing, this whole show, we got to watch the premiere, the first 2 episodes together at Star Wars Celebration, so how I felt about it then. And then I was very much I want Anakin, right? I love Darth Vader. But I want Anakin. So that was just very exciting to see, and to get all that stuff immediately, flood of emotions. There's Anakin, teared up a little. I love Anakin, and I love seeing conversations, but then you get Darth Vader Anakin, almost Darth Vader Anakin too. And it's just, I love seeing that whole transition of him. I adore him. I felt like this was very much an Anakin episode, which I loved. And Reva, of course, getting that confirmation. I immediately said it right in the first, it was the first episode, right? When it starts off with that one part that, when they're young. And I was like, what did she say? We run. I think it's her or someone else. They talk. What do we do now? We run. And I went, oh, I bet you that we're going to see that's going to be someone. And then it's a little later with Reva talking and stuff, I all of a sudden went, oh, it's going to be Reva. And I've actually just started rewatching the series with my husband, who hadn't seen it yet. And he immediately said this. He goes, oh, Reva's going to be one of them, isn't she? And I'm like, maybe. And I'm like, you need to get caught up before the finale. So we're rushing, we're hurrying. But this whole show has been great. But this last episode was definitely my favorite too, Wendy. I've watched it 3 times now, and I'm like, I can't wait to watch it again with my husband when he catches up. So good.
And Jami, were you expecting that twist from that, and it's not so much a twist, but the whole Reva reveal.
Yeah, because I guess I don't know how much like is me watching the show or then hearing other people talk about the show back to me and what they thought, and then like it ends up imprinting in my brain as what I thought I saw. So I thought we already knew that Reva was part of Order 66. So like when we saw that in this episode, like it didn't surprise me because I thought we already knew all that. But maybe it wasn't that I already knew all that, but that I just had heard everyone guessing that that's what it was. And then I just assumed that was correct. And so it wasn't like a big surprise to me this week, but because I feel like I've known it. But yeah, I think I just got confused. But I mean, this was a great episode. I love this episode as well. I liked sort of like the back and forth and Obi-Wan kind of taking command of the rebels and Leia taking a little bit of command as well. And the way he, listens and respects her when he, told Baby Ice Cube, no, you listen to her. I think that's right. I like to call him Baby Ice Cube. And, and then her holding his hand at the end and the stuff between Obi-Wan and Reva and obviously the Darth stuff as well. I love the show. I love this series, and so I can't wait. I mean, I can't believe we're already up to the final.
I know.
Went quick.
Yeah. And Adierna Varma, it was great. She was so great. R.I.P. to her, but she was great in the last episode. And yeah, really, really good.
Really liked it.
It'll be interesting. I mean, it seems like they have a lot of real estate they still have to cover to wrap this thing up in 45 minutes. So,
and they said it's limited series, so we're not really expecting another season either. Unless they just lied when they said that.
I've heard, that's funny because I've heard Ewan say he wants to do a second season. So I've heard mixed on that.
Well, see, so when it first came out, they kept calling it limited series, but I think they did that with Loki too. And then Loki,
Moon Knight as well,
picked up. Yeah, so I feel like they say it and then they can be like, we changed our mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I feel like it can make sense I think there's enough room left on the timeline before they catch up to give us a second season, especially with 6 episodes so short. And I know these are, like 40 plus minute episodes, but I usually at the end of it, I'm like, how do they have time to wrap up? Because I don't want them to hurry up and rush and wrap up everything.
And I feel like they need more, like there's a lot more real estate on that timeline that I think we need to see or could ultimately see before, to kind of to bridge the gap between Ewan and Alec Guinness.
Yes. Yeah. Like, yeah, he can still age a little bit.
Yeah, we're close.
To get the white hair. Yeah.
I think we could see it would be great to see another or 2 Obi-Wan adventures. And I think since we know thank you, Solo, Darth Maul is out there in this particular period of the timeline. And I wouldn't be completely shocked if we get a Liam Neeson cameo this week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They've been hinting at that.
I feel like we've been leading up towards that. And then if there is a season 2, then he avenges Qui-Gon by going after Darth Maul. I don't know.
Oh, I need him as a Force ghost.
It seems like there's a few storylines that need to be wrapped up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's interesting too, because like what kind of action does Reva take once she, listens to Organa's message on that communicator? Like, because they ended that episode with a shot of Luke sleeping. Mm-hmm. So she goes back to Tatooine, or like what? I'm trying to make it make sense from like now and like how that's gonna work. So I'm very curious to what kind of episode we're gonna get.
Episode 1, now I realize there's a reason why she had a confrontation with Joel Egerton.
Oh,
that's not just a stranger to her now.
No,
that's a person she knows who lied to her, and he's raising Darth's son.
And the name Owen was said in Organa's
she says
message.
It back to him. She says, "Okay, Owen Lars, I'm going to have my eye on you." And then Jimmy Smith says his name in the recording.
Yep.
That's
right. Well, I guess she probably is going to take a little trip I don't know how she's gonna get out of that place because, like, Vader, which by the way was such a great moment when he used the Force to.
I know.
Well, and how do these, like, can the Grand Inquisitors like heal differently? Because we've now seen 2 of them take a lightsaber to the stomach.
I know. And they're fine.
And they're fine. That Bacta tank really can do a lot, huh?
That's what it is.
Just magical healing in the Bacta tank. Gives you flashbacks when you're in the Bacta tank. Gives you all the healing. I don't know, but we will sure be tuning in this Wednesday for the finale of Obi-Wan. And we've also got, a new episode of Ms. Marvel coming up. I've been loving the Ms. Marvel show. For this second episode, I love that they've got the DODC as a little bit more part of it now, more of Kamala Khan. And it's more than just her. What I like about the show, it's more than just her looking at like how to familiarize herself with her power or getting to the origin of her power. It's also like her looking into her culture, right? And I love not looking to her culture, but at us as an audience getting to learn about her culture. Like I love hearing about like, the shoes thief, the festivals, the food they eat. I love all of that combined in this show. There's so much going on. And I think it's such a well executed show. And I can't wait to see what happens now that she has come face to face with that woman that's been in her vision. Do either one of you read I think Tessa probably has, Jami probably has too, the Ms. Marvel comics? I have not.
Didn't.
Oh, really?
No.
I'm so surprised. Okay.
Just whenever she would pop up in other stuff, but I never really like read her.
The last Ms. Marvel comic I read, she turned into the Thing. So that shows you
how
it was. It wasn't Carol and it wasn't Kamala. It was the Ms. Marvel in between.
Yeah.
Dated the Thing and then becomes the Thing. Becomes a female Thing but that's the last Ms. Marvel.
Wow.
I read Carol, Ms. Marvel.
I read those two, and Civil War too.
But not Kamala.
I like Civil War too. A lot of people didn't. I liked it. Jamie's like, I did not.
I don't remember. No, I think I'm more original Civil War.
There you go, which I think I have. Sitting on the bookshelf somewhere. But look, this adventure is going, and like what I've been liking too, the episodes are long. They're like 47, 48, 50. So I'm very excited because I think we only have 6 episodes as well. So we got to establish her enough to make it make sense for when she shows up in the Marvels. So there's speculation of like a cameo by Captain Marvel herself, most likely, as an end credit scene, I would like to think, to make it make sense, but who knows? What I am curious about is this new crush that she has met, Karan, who we find out who his mother is. So I was like rooting for their cute little relationship, and now I'm like, wait, no, red flags, stay away, because like he so far is so charming. But I'm just,
thinking,
no, it's an ad.
That's a bad dude. I can tell.
No good.
He's sneaky. Dude. He's sneaky.
Yeah.
He's way too interested in her way too quickly.
Yeah, he's texting her, and I also didn't like how he was like, "Bye, Brian," to Bruno. I was like, "No, their best friend." So, but I am really liking this show a lot. What do you guys think we're going to see in episode 3? Any speculation or theories?
I don't know. I just hope there's a little more action coming up. Like I just feel like that's something that they've lacked a little bit in the first 2. We got it a little bit towards the end there of the second one, but I'm still like, okay, like I like it feels very Netflixy to me, I guess, if that makes sense. It feels like a one of those Netflix teen, like, I don't know. I've enjoyed it. I've definitely enjoyed it, but I'm like, okay, let's bring in the Marvel. Like, let's do a little more action. So I'm hoping for more of that. And I think that it feels like now they're set on that path. They've kind of explored a little with the first 2. And I think that's where we're going. I imagine. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be more, I would think.
Jami, how are you liking the show so far?
Yeah, I really like the show too. I love, I agree with Tessa. A little bit more action would be nice, but I really like the family drama. I love the fact that they rooted her powers in her family's history and culture. And I really and I enjoy all the actors. I really like it so far. It skews young. It's for a younger audience, a younger Marvel audience than the average Marvel audience. But but you know, very enjoyable. I like it.
Yeah. Putting a caveat on what Jami just said, gear it towards a younger audience doesn't mean that older people can't watch it. Because I think people confused, because I get like yelled at in the comments, like, why are you calling a younger show? I'm like, because she's young and it's the vibe of it is special. I was like, but like, you know, I love the show. Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you can't enjoy it.
Right. No,
but it's the intent is for a certain targeted audience.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're expanding out to all ages obviously was also the intent. So, and let's go ahead and move on to our final topic for today. And that is for the latest Pixar animated film, Lightyear. This one, I do want to talk about box office a little bit. So it has a $51 million opening weekend, which is not like super, super fantastic, but I don't think it's super low considering this is the holiday weekend and they're still competing with Jurassic World Dominion and Top Gun. And I know talking to a lot of families, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? Oh, we're going to go to the theaters. What are you going to go see? And like most of them are seeing Top Gun because that's the movies that dads wants to see.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think it means the 51 like, oh, the movie failed or it's bad. You know, the three of us saw it. I don't think it's far from bad. It's actually really fantastic. But I think it's hard to, you know, a lot of people, movies are expensive. People save their money to take their dads out and to treat them. And then dad, you know, a lot of the dads would be like, oh, I want to see Top Gun. My dad's still asking me about Top Gun. He still hasn't seen it. He's like, oh, is it worth going to the theater? So I was like, you got to go see it, Dad. So he's in Taiwan. So I don't know.
I actually
if it's playing over there yet.
Disagree with you, Wendy. I don't think the movie's bad. I liked it. I think the movie is a good movie. I do think 51 million opening weekend is bad. I think that's this is a disappointment. They are not happy in Burbank today, trust me, or up in San Francisco. This is a huge fail for Pixar.
What was their predicted?
Well, I mean, listen, I don't know if it was the best weekend to open it. You know, Top Gun is a once in a lifetime juggernaut. And, you know, I hated Jurassic Park. It's a terrible movie, but people go to that.
I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
I mean, people love you. Don't bet against the dinosaur. People love that. I don't, and I don't get it, but they do. And I think that there's, you know, listen, Pixar has been opening all their movies on Disney Plus over the last few years with the, you know, I think there's maybe a certain feeling with families of like, I'll see it. I pay Disney Plus every month. I'll see it next month. I don't need to take my kids to the theaters this weekend to see it. I think also it's not, you know, selling it as a Toy Story spinoff is a little disingenuous. And it's not really a Toy Story spinoff. So it becomes, I just think that 51 million is for, and let's put it in under that light. For a Buzz Lightyear movie to open at 51 million for Pixar, that's a huge disappointment. That's so low
can't disagree there.
Wendy, that's solo numbers. That's so low. We're talking solo disappointment with Lightyear. And I'm not criticizing the film itself because I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. But that's what 51 million at the box office. Basically, a movie that's been in the box office for a month and the film from last weekend that got terrible reviews split the box office with you. Add those 3 numbers up. That's what the opening weekend of Pixar of a Pixar movie should have been.
Yeah,
that's true. 150 opening weekend. Those 3 movies essentially tied for number 1. They all, I mean, I think it's like 51, 48, and 44 or so. It's very close. It's essentially 50, 50, 50. And the top 3 this week. And then like Doctor Strange is like 4. You know what I mean? Like that's number 4 is like 4 million. So yeah, if I was Pixar and Disney, I wouldn't be happy with this opening weekend at all. And I think worldwide, it's even doing worse. I think
it's just really hard to compete with a film like Top Gun.
Well, I'll tell you, our movie theater in my tiny little town has, I think it's 7 screens, and downstairs are all the remodeled reclining chairs. And then
nice.
upstairs, they have 2 rooms that are like the very old. No one wants to ever go upstairs to see a movie, okay? So they put a little asterisk on the time that says to let you know it's downstairs. We were planning on going to see Lightyear yesterday with my family, which we ended up doing. But between Saturday and Sunday, they moved all the Lightyear showings besides 3D to upstairs. We ended up seeing it in 3D so we could see it downstairs in the tiny little 3D room.
Oh my gosh.
And we asked him about it because I know the manager there, and he said, no one is coming to this movie. He did, however, say that the opening weekend for Jurassic World was the same, but somehow it's doing way better. And they ended up moving Jurassic World into the big where they were going to show that year, which I'm thinking after horrible reviews, why are people going to see this movie? I don't dinosaurs. Know. Right. But it's sad. And I don't know. I've talked to several people, or I should say I've seen on Facebook several people who said they refused to go because of the kiss, which I'm like, if you watch it, like, my husband even started laughing when it happened. He goes, "This is a giant nothing burger." Are
you kidding me?
Like, it's so ridiculous.
I didn't even know. I saw the movie last week. It not only didn't even register in my head as anything that I should take note of, I didn't even know about, like, I know I saw it. Like, once I read that there was this controversy about it, I was like, oh yeah.
Oh my God, imagine a kiss being controversial.
It being a controversy was never... It's crazy. That's just crazy.
That's locally here where I live is very that kind of, it's a little bit of a red area, right? But I will say many of the people are saying that is why they're not taking their children, because it's going to influence them. And I'm like, I wish you would watch it because it's so ridiculous. It's not like
it's not how it works,
heavy
guys.
petting session.
That's not how it works.
And it's not how it works exactly.
It's really not how it works.
It's barely even noticeable. I don't know.
I know. So I don't know if that is having anything to do with it. I know overseas that might be. There's how many countries now that aren't even showing it? It's a lot.
Well, at least 2 for sure.
Yeah.
We can say at least 2.
Yeah.
That I can think in my head immediately that would
I saw a article, I think it said like 8 or 9 countries weren't going to show it.
It was such a quick moment too. It was
it's ridiculous. It feels like a silly reason to not go see a movie, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, they're lost, I guess. What I'm hoping for this movie is that it has hopefully can have a pretty strong second weekend.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm hoping, because again, they're really competing with it, like it being Father's Day, and I can see literally all the dads I know, like my own in-laws like, let's go see Top Gun. I was like, okay. So but this movie is so fun. At first I was one of the people, I was like, wait, what do you mean the origin of Buzz Lightyear? And it wasn't until we saw the movie we realized what that it was confirmed what it really means. And I like chuckled out loud as that kind of title screen came up. I'm like, okay, this is clever. And I gotta hand it to Chris Evans. Like, he's super talented. Obviously, we already know this, but the fact that he was able to match the cadence of how Tim Allen speaks as Buzz Lightyear the toy, and turn that into, like the live action, real like Buzz Lightyear, it's incredible. It's really incredible. And there's so many things to love about the film. Alicia is amazing. Izzy's great. Socks is literally my favorite. I'm sorry to all the other characters because I don't see you when Socks is on the screen. When Socks is on the screen, I just see Socks. And I need it. What were you guys? So let's go into the review portion of it real quick. Like your overall thoughts. We'll go around the horn and start with Tessa on Lightyear.
Yeah, I really liked it. I will say when we got the first 30 minutes before the early press day, I was like, oh, this feels a little slow, but like started to pick up. Okay, I'm into it. But then even rewatching that first 30 minutes with the whole movie, I thought it was really, really well done. I really liked it all together. I thought it was so much fun. Like you said, Wendy, Socks is amazing. But I like the exploration of like what living in the past can do to you. You know what I mean? Like how just focusing on one mistake can really mentally like tear someone up. So because of stuff that happens later, don't want to talk spoilers, but you guys know what I mean, like twists and things that happen. You're like, wow, I get it. And I'm glad they were able to explore that.
Yeah.
I liked it. And like, for real, I don't know why, but I'm like, I want to try a sandwich with like the meat on the outside. But I thought it was a lot of fun, and my whole family really liked it. My husband liked it. The girls loved it. And
good.
And I think this is the first time we've had an end credit after the Pixar lamp. I think it's the first.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jami, your overall thoughts on Lightyear?
Yeah, I liked it. My biggest problem with the movie was I felt they worked too hard to shoehorn it into the Toy Story universe.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it worked much better as a standalone movie. You know, I don't know. My head starts thinking like with that opening kind of credit that explains the title card that explains it. It's like, okay, so now I'm looking at this as like Andy's Star Wars. Well, this isn't Andy's Star Wars. It's not that good. And I'm like, what would have inspired him to love this character that much? And then like, there's just other things. Well, and then here's another question. You guys know, typically when a voice activated toy is released from a film, like let's say a Terminator toy or a Spider-Man toy, that's going to have Schwarzenegger's voice. That's going to have Andrew Garfield's or Tobey Maguire or, Tom Holland's voice. So to not have Tim Allen be the voice of the actor playing the character in the movie, remember, we've set up now at the beginning title card that this is a movie. You are watching a movie that Andy watched. So I got news for you. Chris Evans is not playing Buzz Lightyear. Chris Evans is playing an actor playing Buzz Lightyear. And to me, and your head can explode thinking about that too much. You know what I mean? Izzy's not real. Izzy's a character in a movie.
Right.
So, so anyways, I just think like for me, I have to separate the Toy Story part from it. And I thought it was a 4 out of 5 good action adventure animated film. If I put the Toy Story in it, I like it less and less.
I get that. I see what you're saying.
I just think they tried too hard to make a square peg fit in a circle. Like just make a Buzz Lightyear adventure movie. Would any of us been like, what is this? Why isn't this? You know what I mean? No one would have cared if they had just made a Buzz Lightyear adventure movie and not tried to say, this is the movie Andy grew up, just make a Buzz Lightyear movie. We would have swallowed that and watched that and enjoyed that. Like, I don't know. So it's the shoehorning in that was too much for me. But otherwise, I really like it as a standalone movie.
Well, there you go.
I love
Socks.
And Wendy knows I hate Pixar movies that shove a cat in halfway through. I'm looking at you, Soul. Shoving that cat in 45 minutes in. But so 35 minutes in, when I see Socks, I'm like, oh no.
Here we go.
Here we go again.
And then he's like, think again, Jami. I gotcha.
Right.
I'll admit it. Socks works.
I think they worked really hard to make him work for you, Jami. It was all for you. They heard what you said.
I think it's the cat from Soul. He just moved over the movie. He just goes over movie to movie.
The same cat. It's the same cat actor with a different costume on.
Yep,
exactly.
Make it really meta. Kind of connecting. That's a connective soul for all the Pixar films. Well, you guys, that is it for today's episode on Pop Council. I would like to thank Jami and Tessa for their time. For our guest of honor today, Tessa, where can everybody find you and your work?
Yeah, everyone can check me out at mamasgeeky.com or Mamas Geeky on all social media. I also write for What's on Disney Plus and Wealth of Geeks. So there you go.
Nice. There you go. That's where you can find all of Tessa's stuff. And Jami, where can everybody find you?
Check out moviephone.com for your showtimes, listings, reviews, interviews, and so much more.
And for me, you can find me everywhere at my name, Wendy Lee Zaney, or on YouTube at The Movie Couple. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of videos coming up, not just Pop Council, a couple of other shows, Proved in Hollywood, and after shows and reviews and interviews as well right here on this channel. And we will see you guys next week for more Pop Council. Bye, everyone.